Recording in progress.
So welcome, Suleiman. He's my class at the moment, and I kind of understand why if some people are a bit late or not coming, because I did send a message earlier on saying that And then earlier today I received this these set of notes, and so the plan changed a bit, and we actually don't have to do the lab, which some of us are working on our own, but we have this PowerPoint to work on. So yeah, did I just close that? I did, didn't I? Was there anything else before I start on the notes? You might care about the mid-semester test that's going to be on next week. So that's very soon next week. That's on the 29th, which is Sunday. So we've got that. I've got a bit of a note about it. So it's on Sunday, and it'll cover all the 4 chapters that we've done so far. Not the chapter that I'm going to start now. The chapter I'm going to start now will not be on the mid-semester test. Okay, so mid-semester test is going to be 20%. Hi guys. And yeah, so be ready for that. So today, just got a few people just came in. Today we're going to look at chapter 5. And I've already started, as you see. New chapter. So let's get that going. Sorry? No, the midterm will not include this chapter. The mid chapter is going to be from chapters 1 to 4. Will not include this chapter. So we're getting started on this chapter because I don't like to waste time. And I have the chapter, and so we're going to do it. Okay? So that's today, is working on this chapter. Abdullah just coming in just reminded me, because he did an excellent job on the lab. And the lab was, originally it was 10 marks. So same as every other lab. But Hassan said that he thought this was a really, really important lab. And so we should make it out of 30 marks. Now, not 30 marks from the course, but 30 out of the 100 for the labs or something like that. So this is a big lab. So make sure you do the lab, which is due on Saturday, right? So today we're going to be talking about problem management. And yeah, I have started, even though I've only got 5 people here. That's because I'm recording this. So with problem management, what we want to do is we want to find out what caused the incident. So we have an incident. There's something that's underlying that causes the incident. The thing that's causing the incident, that's what we call the problem. Now, we don't know about what that is. Hi, how are you, Hassan?
My lovely Mr. Akhtar.
One of the many, no doubt. So here we refer to it as the real problem. We might also refer to it as the underlying problem, what it is that is causing that incident. So we also refer to it as the root cause. And sometimes we won't even look for what is the problem until we actually realize that an incident is recurring. So we use that term as well. If an incident is recurring, that means we probably have a problem. A problem in the technical term that we use in ITIL. So in ITIL, we have a different word for incident and problem. They mean different things, where in normal discussion, they might not seem to. And so what this slide is trying to represent is the fact that when we see incidents occurring in our systems, then often those incidents can be grouped and as having the same underlying cause, in which case they're all related to the same problem. And problem management is about finding out what that root cause problem is and then addressing it. So one of the issues that could come up, as I said, so you could have a recurring incident, and we don't want to treat a recurring incident, as it says here, as just a big incident. When we have an incident, we do something to resolve it, even if that's a workaround. We'll talk about that again. And so we have some technical terms in this lesson, and workaround is one of those. We will find a sort of solution. It's not going to stop this from happening, but it will allow us to close the incident at this point and then move on. And then we know that maybe that's going to have a problem, going to have the incident cause again. Well, there's another technical term for that. It's it's a known problem, and we make a workaround to sort of to solve it in the meantime, and then we close the incident. So the point here is about not keeping an incident open just because we know it's going to recur again. If we've done what we can to satisfy the customer at this point, we close that incident. So that's really quite an important point. So we've got a definition. Oh, sorry, let's go back. Got a definition of problem management there. Problem management is a term used in ITIL. As it says there, it focuses on understanding why. In other words, finding out, discovering the root cause. Why did the incident occur? This is what we're doing in problem management. So problem management mission statement here, again, root cause analysis to rectify what's gone wrong and prevent reoccurrences. And so it's, as it mentions here, we require reactive and proactive. I think we've got a definition of those, coming up in a bit. All right, so why would we do problem management? What's the benefit of it? So problem management, the focus there is on trying to reduce the recurrence of incidents. So that will reduce the number of incidents, but also when an incident occurs, then if we're doing our problem management correctly, then it should take less time to solve it, less time to do the resolution. And therefore our customers will be more happy and they'll be good with this. Now this slide is particularly dense. I'm sorry about that. When I mean dense, there's a lot of words on there. But just to sort of summarize what's going on in this slide, I'm not going to read every slide, but what this problem was, people trying to log on to a particular application, they were finding that they were unable to gain access to the application. The IT department discovered that if they restarted the application, I guess you'd say like reboot the application, then those people that were not able to get onto the application got access to the application at that point. And so that was recorded as an incident and the incident could be closed. Now it would be an error, it would be a mistake if you at that time just kept the incident open because you know it's going to recur. So yeah, later on, again, what will happen is people will find that they're unable to access the system. And so we call this at this point, we're calling that a known error, known problem. And so with that known error, we also have a workaround, which is how we resolve that. And the workaround was to restart the system. And so every time this incident would come up, they would start the system. Because they saw that the incident was coming up over and over, they realized that there's something causing this. What can we find out that's actually causing this incident to happen? That is our problem analysis, right? We're going in there, we're trying to find the problem. They discovered that what the problem was that there wasn't enough bandwidth on the server that was providing that particular application. And so when they upgraded the server to a bit more powerful, I guess you'd say, the incidents went away. Very nice example of problem analysis and problem management. So some basic concepts. We have these, and I'll call them technical terms. The idea of what is a problem. A problem is something that causes incidents, and it may cause multiple incidents. And so we use these terms, root cause and workaround. They all, again, this going back to ITIL, we could say that these are technical terms. They don't necessarily mean the same thing as they would mean in your normal English conversation. They have a special meaning when we're talking about ITIL. And so a root cause, that's the thing that is causing the incident to occur. There's something in the system that's not right. That is the root cause, and therefore we're getting this incident. The workaround, that's where we do something to solve the incident in the moment, but we know that we haven't discovered we haven't implemented the problem solution. All we're doing is we're solving the incident in the moment. That's a workaround. We know we have a problem. There's a known problem there, and we have a little solution that will get us through this incident, knowing that the incident will probably reoccur later. So impact, that's another technical term in this context, and impact in this way means how many people are involved, right? So impact is small if there's only one person involved. If there's a group of people, then the impact is bigger. If the whole organization is affected by our incident or our problem, then that's a big impact. Known error. Well, we've seen this incident come up lots of times, so we know that this is going to happen. That would be a known error. So yeah, as it says here, we've identified a root cause and we have a temporary solution. Now, problems repository, the idea of this is that we're recording what we're doing with our problems that we've identified, workarounds that we've implemented. Those go into a problem repository. And if we resolve the problem, we have that recorded there as well. So when we're trying to find out what is our root cause, what is our problem, we can use two different methods here, I suppose, reactive and proactive. And I guess we'd say that proactive is superior or better than reactive. So what is reactive? Reactive means that after the incident has occurred, then we do some analysis on it, or after. So reactive is after the fact. So something's happened and we will react to it. Proactive is before. I say so. In proactive, what we're doing is we're basically doing some analysis, some gathering of information before problems occur, and try and find out things that might cause problems before they occur. And obviously, I think you could see that you're going to have less problems that way because we're doing something before they happen. And as it says there, we're going to have a surface operations group, which will be involved in that. So proactive problem management, as it says here, is a continual improvement perspective. Continual improvement, that sort of goes in with the idea of quality management, which we try to implement through ITIL. Who's involved with our problem management? That's discussed in this next couple of slides. And how are they involved? And so we've got these four different people. Problem manager, problem coordinator, technical expert, and problem management process committee. So let's look at them. So the problem manager is the person that's kind of sitting on top of that that idea of problem management. So that person is taking the responsibility for themselves. They are going to be like the chair, I guess you could say, of that problem management committee. And they're going to take the responsibility for it. And so they have to make sure that everything pertaining to the problem management in that department is documented, defined, maintained, as it says. They're going to review the reports that come from the problem management and look at ways to solve them. They're going to call the meetings and facilitate the meetings and review the meetings. There'll be the point where people from the problem coordinators are mentioned in the next slide, I think. They will escalate problems up to the problem manager, and they coordinate with other people regarding the meetings. Now, the problem coordinators, they will go to meetings. It's not just about meetings. They are taking responsibility from a functional point of view within the organization. So they might be part of, you might have different problem coordinators from different departments in the company, or you're going to have different problem coordinators from different IT functions that are provided by the IT department. So these are people that are going to sort of, I guess in the problem management thing, you'd say they're kind of the middle manager between the problem manager and the experts. And so they're gathering information for their department and sort of feeding that up through the problem process committee. I think that's enough to say about that. The technical expert, on the other hand, they don't have those management responsibilities. The responsibilities of the technical experts are on specific problems that they are researching and solving. And yeah, I think that's enough on that. So there could be or should be a committee where this problem management sort of is managed from. And that's what we've been talking about in the last couple of slides. Those people would be involved in that, which is your problem manager your problem coordinator, and possibly your experts. Now, a lot of the experts might not need to go to those meetings because they would be coordinating through the problem coordinator. Okay, so next one. All right, so we've got a bunch of things that we're going to look at here when we're problem managing. What do we have to do? And there they are listed as 7 things. Need to detect the problem, log the problem, investigate work, make workarounds, update the known error records, do the resolution, and then close. So detection. Detection is, we're talking here about detecting problems. How do we detect problems? Well, one easy way to do that is to look at the incident reports. If we see incidents that seem to be recurring, that could be that there is a problem. If we see incidents that we don't know what's causing them and they might recur, well, that's a problem. Yeah. Now it could be, as it says there, that the service desk has resolved an incident and then that incident recurs again. That's definitely a problem. That's when we'll have to create a problem record. In other cases, as it says there, we've got an incident that's associated with a problem. If we have a known problem, this is something that we've identified previously that there is a problem, and we see that incident coming up again. That should also be recorded in the problem record. So the idea of logging, this is not the same as the incident management. All right, remember, in incident management, we're doing our logging as a ticket. We're creating tickets in incident management. In problem management, we're recording things in our problem management database. Now, the source of that, a lot of that will actually come from our incident management. But there's another database that's mentioned here, which is the configuration management database. This is ITIL sort of term. If you have a full ITIL implementation, then you'll have an incident management process, which will be your ticketing software. You'll have a problem management process. You have a configuration management process, and some others. So the configuration management, problem management kind of sits between incident management and configuration management. With configuration management, we have kind of like a blueprint of what is all of our systems, you know, where everything is and how they are configured. And problem management, we have, well, there's another process in there which is called change management. From problem management, we will implement change management, changes that need to be made to the system. Changes that need to be made to the system are going to be recorded in a configuration management database. Okay, so problems need to be categorized. I hope that's obvious to you why they'd be categorized. Different problems are going to be solved by different groups. Prioritized, of course, because we have to, prioritizing is just a way of knowing what resources to apply to the thing at hand. So prioritizing in the problem is similar to prioritizing in the incident. That is, we look at what is the impact and we look at what is the urgency. Now, in our notes here, we actually refer to another point, which is we look at the severity. So we look at the impact, the severity, and the urgency. A lot of people might think the severity would be rolled into impact, but the impact, in our technical definition of an impact here, we're saying the impact is how many people are affected. So I guess we'd say severity is how badly or how many people affected. So there we have our impact and our severity. Then the urgency is, according to our customer, when does this need to be fixed? And of course, they're all going to say now. Usually. Not necessarily, but usually, yeah. Okay, so the idea of a workaround, temporary fix. In the example that I gave you, the workaround was they turned off the system and turned it back on again, right? And why that worked is because when you turned off the system, all of the users were thrown off. And then when you turn it back on again, they could log in, as long as they were first come, first served, right? Then somebody, once the system was up at its level that it could handle, then people would start not being able to log in again. So that was a workaround, but it was obvious that it wasn't, it wasn't enough. There was still the underlying problem. So a workaround, we say that as a technical term. Workaround is a solution to the incident but it still leaves us with the problem. Now, create a known record, known error record. If we, in that case there, so the example that I just gave, that our example, they couldn't log on to the server. Okay, so that we would record in a database, which is called the known error database. We'd put a record in there, which comes from our problem management, which is basically going to say people cannot log in. We know that this is a thing, and this is how we fix it. We would refer to our workaround as well. Now, in the example that I keep referring to, they also had a resolution, didn't they? The resolution, after they did their research, they determined that what they needed was more bandwidth on the server. And so their resolution was to replace the server with a more powerful one. And so that would be the resolution, and that's how we record it. Now, if you're going to make changes to the system, so as I mentioned, we have our incident management, our problem management, actually our change management, and our configuration management. To make changes to the system, generally you have to do some documents. And the main document you might have to do there is a request for change. And so that will be part of that process. Once you've been able to determine what the problem was, you've done your request for change, you've made the changes, then you can close. When you close, then maybe you're going to have a review. So look at this major problem review. You would have a business impact analysis and maybe a risk assessment. When you're doing your review, what you're looking at is, okay, how did we solve that problem? Here's some things that we might look at. What are the things that we did good? What are the things that we didn't do so good? What could be improved? What extra risks do we have? And how can we prevent this recurring in the future? And is there any other body besides us who's responsible for that? So we got these other two terms down here, which is our problem control and our error control. In the investigation phase, as it says, we want to find the root cause of the problem and turn it into a known error. Then we can get about working on a workarounds and solve the problem. Error control, on the other hand, is part of the resolution phase. So as opposed to investigation phase is our problem control, resolution phase for our error control, converting known errors into solutions and removing them from the known error database by solving them. So problem control is going to come before error control. Problem control is about finding out what the problems are. Error control is about resolving them. How are we going? You guys getting too tired already? You doing all right? I don't think this is going to take too long. I'm talking fast as I can. Okay, management techniques to help you with problem management. Here's some examples. Brainstorming. So you probably use brainstorming when you're in high school or primary school, I suppose. The idea of brainstorming is just to get as many people as is practical together in a managed environment and just getting ideas and just writing them down. So now, as I said, that's a managed environment. There should be a moderator, and the moderator is going to set the direction. It's going to record everything that's happening there. The moderator is going to look at what's going to be done to fix it. And the moderator is there to stop time from being wasted, because brainstorming could become quite time wasteful if not properly managed. Now, we have this special diagram thing called the Ishikawa fishbone. Ishikawa is not specific to problem management. Ishikawa is used in quality management generally in all kinds of environments, not just in IT environment either. So the idea that we do with Ishikawa, we have this kind of a diagram here, where we put on one end of this, it looks like a fish skeleton. That's why they call it the fishbone. That we put at the head of it what we have determined our problem is, and then we put as ribs for our diagram the things that we think are contributing to it. And so here we often do categorize those things. So that's what we've done here is we're saying, okay, these could be the sources of the causes of this problem. And yeah, so we've got that categorized, and then we can add, well, then we can put onto those ribs, we can put the things that come out of those categories that are causing this problem. So we can see here, like these people have computers that are not updated. With the procedures is too much coffee, whatever. Yeah, because this is about bad coffee. We might have rude people without training, and that's going to cause errors. And there's a bunch of other things on there that I'm not going to go through to. Right. So here's an example of using a fishbone diagram for something which isn't coffee, but it's more related to IT, which is a printer problem. So we start our diagram with the printer out there on the end there. We're saying, okay, here's our problem. Then we're going to categorize things that would possibly be causing that problem. And then we are going to put the individual things that come from each of those, right? So from the printer, could have no paper, no ink, etc. The network could have a cable issue, etc. The computer could have all kinds of, I guess, here's some, the network the driver might not be working. There's a lot of other things could be there as well. Where were we? I need to, okay, yeah. So that's where we are. RCA, root cause analysis. And so what we want to do in root cause analysis is we want to find out what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and what can we do to prevent it from happening in the future. We want to identify the root causes. This is how we do it, I guess. Okay, so we've got 6 steps here that we could use in root cause analysis to find what the problem is. It's always got to be the first step, right? You're not really going to be able to solve it if you can't say what it is. Gather the data, identify the contributing issues, determine the root cause, implement a solution, and take documentation. There's a little bit more on each of those there. Lastly, made it. We can use checklists to help us to identify a problem. Very good, especially in the service desk, especially with hardware, but also with software. All right, too. So to have a checklist there that the help desk professional is able to sort of use as a way of jogging their memory. What are the common types of issues that we could have? And so, for example, we've got a printer problem solving checklist. This would be very good for somebody who's sitting on the phone talking to a customer who's having a problem with the printer. They could pull out their printer checklist, and they could just ask some questions, which would help you to identify what could be the problem. That's what we're trying to do. Does that make sense? Any questions? Did I go through that fast enough? I reckon I did. All right. So